Welcome to Pink Kink,
where we are ready to guide you through the wild and wonderful world of kink.
I'm Princess Rara.
And I'm Dara, the Electro Khaleesi.
Whether you are a baby kinkster, a seasoned pro, or just here for the entertainment, Pink Kink will help you level up your kink knowledge.
Join us as we share our own wild, sometimes awkward, but always entertaining experiences and spill the tea from our combined 30 plus years in the private and professional kink worlds.
So grab your favorite flogger or wand.
Thank you.
And buckle up. You'll learn, you'll laugh, and who knows, you might just spit out your coffee.
Let's get this kinky party started.
Want more Pink Kink in your life? Join our Patreon and get ready for a whole lot of kinky fun and exclusive perks.
As a patron, you'll unlock access to our private Discord server where you can connect with fellow kinksters and chat directly with us. You'll also score adorable pink kink stickers and enjoy a monthly behind-the-scenes podcast packed with juicy tidbits we don't share anywhere else. Plus, get sweet discounts at our Etsy shop, Pink Kink Boutique, and on our online classes at Pink Kink Institute.
But wait, there's more.
More?
Our impactful and electrifying Pink Kinksters get extras, such as bonus content and free digital downloads. Oh, and let's not forget, the Pink Standard of patrons will be recognized as producers on both the podcast and on our website, because we couldn't do this without you.
Pink Kink runs on the love and support of our amazing patrons, so join the party today. Visit us at patreon.com/pinkkinkpodcast or click on the link on pinkkinkpodcast.com.
Today's episode is produced by our electrifying Pink Kinksters. Thank you, Jay, Witcherman, Brianna Lynn, Daddy J, William P., Claire, Lady Blooding, Naughty and Nice, Butte Pain, Manda Panda, Kat, Stefan, Shadow Phoenix, Christopher, Brian, Enchanted Sparrow, The Wombat, Impact Hazard, Twitch, The Midnight Girl, Sinful, J21, Daisy If You Do, AK Harley Chick, Serenity, Belle, Eric, Pumpkin Pie, S'more, Hacksaw, Devoted Knight, 3 a.m. Thoughts, Crash Override,
Kinky Bear, Sviper No Sviping, Barbie, Navigator Bard, Frost, Mr. Pillsbury, Peaches, Mighty Owl, Baby Squirrel, Lady in Lex, Chaos Monster, Jessa Lady, Jack, Ophelia, Sweet Caroline, Lady to Kitten, Cydia Lemon, Ben, Noir, Freddie Queen, Princess Ree, Mississive, Elysium Rose, Avalia, Nora Morapora, Brix, Mistress Lycia, Wonder Chris, Chessie, and Manders.
Dara, I'm hoping I will be able to perk you up and wake you up by giving you an episode that you can rant on.
Good luck.
Get those juices flowing, get that anger simmering through your body.
I was going to say, I don't want my juices flowing. That's going to make a huge mess, and I don't feel like cleaning it right now.
Well, you're not on carpet. Doesn't that help?
A little bit.
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah. I did just get some new cleaning supplies. It was like the highlight of my week.
That's when you know you've reached a certain age. When you are excited about that.
I was like, I got Lysol spray and quartz countertop cleaner, and scrub mommies.
Nothing says I'm old rather than excitement over things like that. But I get it. I got one of those, as seen on TikTok, because I am one of those people. The like the steamer cleaner thing.
Oh my God, yes.
Yes, and that was like,
I got one too.
Oh my God, that's amazing.
I haven't actually used it yet.
Oh, just wait till you use it. You'll understand.
I'm about to, because I have to clean all of this, my appliances, and we're going to like deep clean. Oh my God. So we're renovating the kitchen, right? So I don't have any appliances. And I told Daddy J that today we're cleaning the stove. Like, we're going to scrub it down because it's been sitting in the garage, and there's been, there's all this shit going on in the garage. So I'm like, we got to take the whole thing apart. We got to clean it. And tomorrow we're deep cleaning the fridge.
Ooh, excitement in your life.
That's my weekend.
Well, my weekend is spent sitting on my ass on technology. I'm doing a live tonight on TikTok. Sorry, I'm not telling you guys beforehand, because by the time you hear this, it'll be too late. But it was a last minute invitation to talk about kink in romance books.
Oh, right up your alley.
Right up your alley. So it's actually an author who invited me to join him and Moxie Rose on a live. So that's today. Then tomorrow,
I might actually watch that.
Tomorrow, I'm super excited because, it's an all-day thing. Tomorrow, I'm doing something called Kink Connection or Connected in Kink, something like that. And it is basically a virtual conference for educators and presenters and organizations where we're going to all just try to, God, I just blanked. This is what happens when we need more coffee. We all try to just connect with each other. Network. Thank you. I knew I'd come up with the name eventually. We're going to try to network. And at one point, I'm hosting my own little roundtable as Pink Kink Institute, where other educators and presenters will come and find out what the Institute is, what it does, and see if they might be a good fit for it and see if they want to apply to teach. So I'm really
handy.
Yeah, well, I'm really excited about that because depending upon how many presenters and educators I can get, I'll give you guys a hint. Ready? So only those people listening to this episode are going to know this little hint. If I can get enough, I may bump Pink Kink Institute to 2 classes a month starting in 2026. But, so there's your little hint for that. But yeah, it's very excited. And I'm excited about this episode today because this is one of those, right? It wasn't social media, guys. I know, shocking. I tell you, shocking. Not every episode is inspired by social media, just a lot.
90% is inspired by social media.
Okay, I said a lot. I admit that freely. This one was inspired by an article I read. Now, it was a good article for the most part. But something stood out, and it was basically being sympathetic to submissives who have difficulty in saying no to their dominance. But where this article and I differ is this article was more along the lines of, I'm sympathetic that you have difficulty saying no. So here's what you can do so you don't have to say no.
I don't like that.
Well, it rubbed me the wrong way. And look, I will admit freely, let's talk about perceptions and perspectives, and you guys can then take everything else I say with this in mind. I don't like the word obey. I don't like the concept of obedience when it comes to a DS dynamic. And the reason I don't like it is because to me, that shows that the DS dynamic is leaning more towards the dominant than the submissive. Because if the submissive is just supposed to be obey and obedience, then it doesn't sound to me like what the submissive wants and needs is that important. So I don't like that. I have always said, I don't want a submissive who I have to make them obey me. I don't want a submissive that I have to encourage them to obey me. I want a submissive who wants to please me, who wants to make me happy, and gets fulfillment from doing that. And it's not about me making them do anything. And when I hear words like obey or obedience, that whole concept of making the submissive do stuff is just how it comes across to me. What's your perspective on obey and obedience? Because I'm not sure you have the exact same concept I do.
As I get older, yeah, I do, because it's not in marriage vows anymore. So, and that's supposed to be a relationship based on equals. Well, guess what? So is the Dom sub relationship. It's power exchange, but it's also equal. There's just different roles. You have the same amount of power, you're just doing it differently. Therefore, it should still be based on equality, in my opinion.
Oh my goodness, mark it down, guys. Dara and I are starting to agree a little bit more and more each day. I don't know if that's because, you know how like people and their pets start to look alike when they spend a lot of time together? Maybe that's it. The more time we spend together by osmosis, the more we're starting to agree.
Okay. Which one of us is the pet then, Brara?
I'm going to leave that to the listeners to decide. Even this far across from you, I know enough not to answer that question.
We're in different houses. What am I going to do?
I don't care because while you may forget things, somehow I feel like this one you would remember. And the next time I see you in person, I'm in big trouble. So I'm just going to smile and nod and let the listeners answer that question.
Or not. Because
Maybe they understand and they don't want to get into it either. But and look, I get it. Saying no to your dominant can really sound like the opposite of being submissive. Can be the opposite of submission. But stay with me here, right? I understand that submissives want to obey, want to be obedient. I mean, we have some of our own patrons who have discussed that they love the idea, they love the concept of obedience, and it is not for me to tell them you're wrong, right? Is that the whole point of kink is customizable? Everybody can do what they want in a kink relationship as long as everybody is of legal age and consenting. So I'm not here to tell you you are wrong. I am just here to offer a different perspective, and you can make your own decision.
This morning, I was playing around with my Cricut and, the little cutting machine for stickers and everything.
Well, I didn't think you were playing around with the little green music making bug.
Where did the music making part come from?
Because isn't crickets the one that crickets first of all chirp? They rub their little legs together and chirp. So that's
got you.
So that's where it is. I'm sorry. Okay, I'll be quiet again.
Okay, that took me a second because honestly, the cricket that I keep thinking of is not even Jiminy Cricket. It's the one from Mulan.
Okay, yeah. Well, Phoenix is the land of crickets, and so we had crickets everywhere. One of the best stories I ever had, this one will make you freak out. So I'm just, again, here's your trigger warning. I was sitting on the toilet, minding my own goddamn business, doing
That's a way to start a story.
Right, doing my routine. And this was in the olden days, so I had an actual physical book in my hand, not an ebook. And you know how like toilets have the vent right over the toilet?
Mm-hmm.
Well, a cricket fell out of the vent right into my book in my lap.
Well, that book would have gone down the toilet.
No, crickets don't freak me out like the roaches and the lizards and the other stuff.
No. You know what freaks me the fuck out is cave crickets. The ones that look like spiders and jump.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, no, hell to the fuck no.
No, that's not what kind you have. Anyway, sorry, I distracted you. You were on the cricket, the machine.
Those are in my parents' basement, is the cave crickets. I fucking hate them. But anyway, Cricket the machine. And I came across some of our old stickers, and one of them is a Bitmoji of you that says, I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just explaining why I'm right.
Yeah. That's all. I'm not arguing with you. I'm just explaining why I'm right.
Yeah. So this whole conversation, this whole story is kind of reminding me of that. Rah going, I'm not saying you're wrong for all of this. I'm just explaining why I'm right.
Look, I'm a Virgo. I don't think I need to say anything else. I'm a true, full out, 100% Virgo.
Control freak.
Yeah, same thing. Same thing. But anyway, what I want you guys to kind of think about is this idea that healthy submission isn't really about mindless obedience. It's about making conscious choices. You are choosing to submit to somebody. You are choosing to follow the rules. You are choosing this life. It's not about obedience. So one of the reasons that I kind of want to push that concept is you've got your toxic dominants who are pushing the idea that, right, good submissives always say yes. Good submissives do what they're told. Good submissives don't question. And I don't want anybody to ever mindlessly obey. I want them to stop and think about it.
That just screams abuse to me.
Well, that's sort of my point. Yeah. You've got the toxic dom saying things like, if you love your dominant, you should just do what they say.
Hello, emotional manipulation.
If they love the submissive, they wouldn't do that to them. Right. Or if you need to say no, then maybe you're just not cut out to be submissive. Well, as Doris said, right, that just screams abuse. It leads to guilt and burnout on the submissive's part. It leads to incredibly unhealthy dynamics. When you are treating submissives like a tool instead of a person, then I personally got a problem with that. Right? It kind of goes along with this whole concept of, well, submission is a gift. And we did an entire episode on that. So I'll just kind of cover the key points and you can go back and listen to the whole episode, right? So a gift is something that you give once and you don't ask for it back. Well, you shouldn't ask for it back, I should say.
No take backsies.
No take backsies, right? And a gift is given once, but a choice, that's something that you make over and over again. Choosing to be somebody submissive is you are waking up every morning and you are making that choice again. I'm going to submit. I'm going to do. Every time that you are about to do something based upon a rule or a task, you are choosing to do that. You are choosing to submit because there's nobody making us. It's a choice. It's a beautiful choice for people who enjoy it, but it is a choice. And the power of your yes to them. Yes, I will submit to you. Yes, I will be your submissive. Yes, I will do the things you want me to do. The power of that yes comes from the fact that at any point in time, you could say no. At any point in time, you could take back your yes and not do what they want you to do and not submit and not follow the rules.
Just in case you guys haven't noticed, this is another one of Rara's empowerment episodes.
Oh, thank you for noticing that. I appreciate that. It means my Master Evil plan is working.
The brainwashing part?
The brainwashing of all the submissives to empower yourself. Anyway, yeah, I just want submissives to not blindly obey, right? There's that word again. So when you actually do choose to tell your dominant no, it actually isn't a terrible thing. It means you're honoring yourself and even your dominant and your dynamic. And I know that sounds crazy. How are you honoring your dominant and dynamic by saying no? Well, let's listen to the episode and find out. So there's 8 reasons I'm going to give you why saying no to your dominant is actually a service you are giving to your dominant. So let's go over them. 8 reasons. Number 1, saying no establishes healthy boundaries. Now, boundaries are the foundation of safe and ethical kink. We should all have boundaries. That's why when somebody says, you can do anything to me, I have no limits, we all look at them like, what? So I'm going to cut off your left leg. How's that? No, don't do that. Don't do that. Well, guess what? Then you have limits and boundaries, and that's a good thing, right? Boundaries define what you're okay with and what you're not. And it gives both parties a shared map of expectations. The dominant, by seeing what the boundaries are, knows where they can and cannot go. And that's not a terrible thing. There's nothing wrong with having a boundary. It's what makes your relationship healthy. When you don't have boundaries in your relationship, you've got problems. So when you say no to your dominant, you are showing them the edge, where that boundary is. It's right here. Here's the line. Do not cross it. You give them the information that they need to keep you safe, not just physically, but mentally and emotionally. Because if you've got, there's reasons for boundaries, right? Like, let's just pretend for argument's sake, I'm a submissive. I know it's going to be a stretch, but let's pretend. I don't do humiliation and degradation. So if you are talking to me in a humiliating or degrading way in a scene, right? I'm not going to, because if you're talking to me that way in just the relationship, I'm so out of there. But let's say you bring it up in a scene and you talk to me that way. Well, now you've hit up against my boundary and you have now affected me emotionally and mentally. And I'm not going to be okay from that. It's not healthy for me emotionally and mentally to have that humiliation and degradation. So if I don't tell you no when you start doing it, and think about this, what is a safe word? A safe word is a no, right? If I don't tell you, no, don't do this, then we're going to end up destroying the relationship when you do it. Because mentally, I'm not going to be able to take it and I will be out of there. So what good is that? What good is that to do things that are going to potentially end your relationship? And when you say no, you reinforce the importance of mutual care and communication. Because you are going to sit down and have a discussion with your dominant. Because this isn't about just saying no and that's it. You explain to them, I'm telling you no because of X, Y, Z. And I would hope in the care of an ethical dominant, they're going to stop and listen to you. And it's kind of a sign if they don't, that maybe this isn't the dynamic for you, right? Without boundaries, submission becomes sacrifice. You're sacrificing yourself for your dominant. And that's not typically a healthy thing, right? When we did an episode on the hierarchy of DS needs, and we put submissive's needs first, because if the submissive doesn't have what they need, they won't be in any position to be your submissive. And so if your submissive is not telling you no and sacrificing themselves, eventually they're going to run out of any internal strength to keep going in this relationship, and they're going to leave. And then
They're going to burn out.
Yep. And then if you're like me, the resentment's going to start building silently until it becomes too much and you explode.
That's me.
Oh, look at us two Virgos. We do that.
I'm like very quiet about it, and I'll sit there, and if somebody says, well, what's wrong? I'm going to do that line where you should know.
Oh, and I just saw TikTok about what is the one thing the vast majority of Virgos will say when you ask them if they need you? What would you say if somebody came up to you and said, do you need me?
For what?
Oh,
what am I supposed to need you for?
The answer is no, I'm fine.
But you're not fine, and you do need that person. You just don't want to say it.
Yeah, that's a Virgo. Welcome to Virgo-ness. I know you're technically a Virgo, but I think you're just cosplaying a Virgo. What do you always say you are? You're is it?
Oh, I'm actually a Gemini.
Yeah.
I wouldn't know, what is it? I identify as a Gemini.
Yeah.
Because I'm two-faced, and I have the personality is like really calm, but on the inside I'm like an insane person, little baby tornado that's going to kill everything. But that story I told you about this morning, like, I don't need anybody, I don't need any this, I don't need you to do that because I already did it. When in fact, yes, I did fucking need you to do this. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I do actually have those tendencies.
There you go. But yeah, it's not good. All right, let's go to reason number 2. Saying no actually supports long-term service because it prevents burnout. Submission is a marathon, not a sprint. And you can't serve well if you're mentally, emotionally, or physically depleted. That's why submissive needs come first. You cannot submit and take care of somebody else if your needs are not being taken care of. So by saying no, you are reserving your energy for what matters the most. You pick and choose what you can and cannot do. For example, let's just say Dara's cosplaying a submissive.
I do it all the time.
Right? She has chronic health conditions. There are days she can do and days she can't do. And if she doesn't tell her dominant no on the days that she physically, mentally cannot do things and forces herself through it, what's going to happen, Dar?
Oh, it gets so much worse. So actually, I do have an example of this from this week. The other day, I was basically non-functional, and I was trying to push myself through doing things. And it wasn't that he was asking me. This is my, I'm trying to be independent. I can do this by myself. I don't need no help bullshit. And I was trying to do all the things, and I was in so much pain by the time it was over. I couldn't walk. I was, my knee actually was popping, and my hip was threatening to go out from under me. It was a really, really bad day. And I'm still trying to do stuff. And I finally just started crying. And I was like, I cannot cook dinner. I cannot do this on top of everything else. And I went and laid down. And by the time I woke up, it was like 6:30 p.m. And I'm just like, I don't know what the fuck to do. And I'm just like crying and I'm a mess. Obviously, the answer was we order takeout.
Well,
like clearly, that was the freaking answer. But at that point, I was so gone in my own head. I was in pain. I was exhausted. I was having like 3 kinds of breakdown. And Daddy J was like, okay, what do you want to eat? I'm like, I don't know. You decide. Be the dominant. Help me out. And like, so he picked dinner and it was fine. And everything worked out and it was fine. We ordered takeout. I was not fine.
See? That I understand. The not fine when you tell everybody you are.
Like, I'm fine. I was not fine.
Right? I mean, saying no helps protect you from overextending in this concept of I want to obey, or I want to be good. I want to be a good submissive. And you just do too much. So for those of you who didn't listen to our previous episode on burnout, I'm just going to go over this quickly. Some signs to look for that you're in burnout is you're avoiding scenes that you once loved. You're feeling bitter about expectations, right? Or you're dominant. As soon as they come up to you to start talking, you're like, oh, fuck.
Oh, wait, that's just marriage.
Okay, I'm not talking about marriage, I'm talking about DS.
Had to throw that in there. It's too good an opportunity.
Look, we have both been proven with our 2 divorces that
truth. Not going for a third one, just so you guys know. It's actually like it's fine. And I'm not saying I said it's fine after that whole story. I'm fine. It's not fine.
Luckily, Daddy J doesn't listen, so he'll never know.
And you know what? I'm recording in the basement, so he can't even hear this one.
Listen, I'm the one who always says I've been divorced twice. 3rd time I'm a widow. So I don't know if anybody's ever going to be willing to marry me again.
Oh, no, I've already told him that. I was like, you're only getting out of this if you die. I'm done doing this whole divorce
and I'm only
thing.
Getting married for insurance purposes next time.
Yeah.
Though Naughty and Nice and I always talk, I mean, she's married, but I said, like, if your marriage ever ends, you and I can just get married and have a platonic marriage. We can live together, share expenses. I can get in her much better insurance than what I've got.
Yeah, well, you know, our friend Tempest has already offered to be my next daddy after I end up killing this one. I mean, wait, what?
Hold on. Don't say that because we're recording this. It can be used against you in a court of law.
Not if
joking,
I call Rara,
joking. She was joking.
She takes me to a pig farm and
I'm just joking, Jars, joking. Ha 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 ha. Funny. Ha 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 ha.
That's okay. Should I tell you, I got Daddy J a present the other day. This is literally our sense of humor. Like he loves this stuff. I got him a t-shirt that has a picture of a Ouija board on it, and it says, "I can't talk right now. I'm on the phone with my mom."
Oh my God, I love it. Oh my God, that's brilliant.
I think he's going to wear it to the next munch.
I love that. Oh, that's perfection.
So if he ever dies, I'll get a Ouija board that says I'm on the phone with my husband.
Oh, God. Ooh. Okay.
See, this is our humor. Like, so
no,
obviously,
I get it. That's my humor too. So I get it. I love it.
We're bad people. All right. Anyway, back to the episode.
So there you go. So saying no in the short term, saying no at the moment can keep you present and passionate long term. And obviously that's what you want. You want your dynamic to be on the long side. All right, number 3, saying no builds and reinforces trust. Trust isn't just about following. It's about believing that your dynamic can hold honesty and that your dominant cares about you. So when you say no, you're showing your dominant that they can trust your feedback, right? We've talked about as tops, we need to know that that our bottoms are going to use their safe words in a scene. That if they refuse to use their safe word, how can we play with them? We can't trust them. Because we will do our very best to watch body language and pay attention, but we're human. We can't catch everything. So we need their feedback so we know what's going on. And that's what the no is in the dynamic. When you tell your dominant no, it's a means of giving feedback. Because I'm hoping you're not just going to say no, period, end of story. You're going to say no because, and explain to them why. And that is giving feedback to the dominant of what is working, what isn't, what you need, what you don't need. It's letting your dominant know that something isn't right so that they can then make adjustments. I mean, what happens if typically you do a particular task and that week maybe something's going on at work, something's going on with your family, and you just can't? Being able to say to your dominant, I can't know, lets them know, hey, there's a problem here. And then maybe they can help you with that. Right? Your dominant needs to know this information. Otherwise, they're just navigating blind. And they might assume that you're okay when you're silently suffering. And here's the problem. Dominants should care about their submissives, right? You're as a person, as somebody who's important to them. If I found out that my submissive was silently suffering and not telling me, I would feel guilty as fuck because I'd start going, oh my God, but there's signs that I didn't notice. How was I blind to this? How did I didn't know? Or I might think, oh my God, why did my submissive not tell me? Were they afraid to tell me? What kind of dominant am I that I make them afraid to tell me information, to be honest with me? So what you end up doing to your dominant, is putting them in a position of feeling bad about themselves as a person, about themselves as a dominant, questioning their skills as a dominant. It isn't a good thing. You're not hurting just yourself in these situations. You're hurting your partner. Submission thrives in trust. That is a crucial part of it. And much more important than the performative nature of, yes, I did this task. Yes, I followed this rule. So number 4, saying no is actually a part of practicing ongoing consent. Right? Consent is not just this checkbox. I asked, you said yes, check. It's an ongoing living agreement between people. And every time you say no to your dominant, you are reinforcing that you own your consent, that you are a willing participant in all of this who is willing to say yes or willing to say no. You're reminding both of you that power exchange is built on mutual willingness, that this is something you both want. And that's a beautiful thing. And it tells your dominant that this dynamic is important enough to me to say no to you occasionally, right? Because if you can't say no, then does your yes really mean anything?
Ooh, that's a good line.
Well, thank you. I came up with that all by myself.
Really?
I know. And I haven't even finished my coffee yet. And look at me go.
I was going to say, give yourself a pat on the back because that was actually pretty good.
Okay, hold on. There we go. I got that. Thank you. If you can't say no, the dynamic risks slipping into coercion, even unintentionally, even if that's not something that your dominant means to do, because your dominant wants you to say no. Your dominant wants you to tell them if there's a problem. I mean, I'm just going to say right out that any dominant, and for those of you who are listening, I'm talking to you people, if any dominant is not okay with you saying no, then I don't think of them as an ethical dominant, and I would not want to be in a relationship with a dominant who is not okay with me saying no. Right? Saying no helps you spot any changes in your needs, wants, or boundaries. We are living, breathing human beings. What we want and need today is not necessarily what we want and need tomorrow. Things change. Life changes. As somebody who's getting older and starting to have some health issues because of getting older that I did not have when I was younger at, 58, right? My needs have changed. My wants have changed. And being able to tell a partner no is telling them that, because now we can make adjustments. Saying no should never be the end of your dynamic. It should be a pause to make adjustments and then continue on. Number 5, saying no keeps you from losing yourself in your role. Being a submissive is a part of you. It is not your entire identity. You're also a son, daughter, friend, child, parent, worker, right? Niece, nephew, nibling, aunt, uncle, whatever. For those of us who are older, you might even be a grandparent. God bless you if you are. You're not just a submissive and none of the other things. And if you are saying yes all the time, you are never saying no, you are going to start to lose the rest of your identity and just be a submissive. And even if you view submissive as a major part of who you are, and I'm not saying that that's wrong, it's still never 100% of who you are. Some warning signs of losing your identity and your person is you stop speaking up about what you want outside of scenes. So maybe you'll safe word during a scene because you don't want to get physically damaged. But when you're not in the scene and you're just out together, you don't speak up. You don't say no. You adjust your preferences to match your dominance, even if it doesn't feel right. And you stop worrying about what do I, the person, need. And it's just all 100% about the dominant. So let's just say, for argument's sake, your dominant likes Chinese food and you don't. I personally don't understand that, but okay. I'm sure there are people out there who
doesn't
don't
like Chinese food.
I've heard of people like that. I don't understand. It's the food of my people.
Bad people. Bad people don't like Chinese food.
I don't like to think of them as bad people. They're making very bad choices.
Okay.
But you start going out and I'm not saying like once, right? We've all gone to restaurants and eat and been there once or twice because the people we love like it, as my mother dragged me to every fucking seafood restaurant on the East Coast when I lived in Massachusetts. And I'm allergic to seafood.
Are you allergic to seafood?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
But there's always one token chicken dish. So,
okay.
Right? So I could do that because she would only come out every so often. And I could do that for the visits. But to do that like all the time, if I had done that, let's forget Chinese food because we all love Chinese food. Let's say in my argument, right, going out to seafood restaurants when I can't eat seafood, and it's one stupid token dish, chicken dish that I would eat all the time.
Mm-hmm.
What? That's not good. That's not fair to me. That's not healthy for me to risk it all the time just because that's what she wants. And it's to do that on a constant over and over basis is not good. And you end up forgetting what brings you joy before you became somebody submissive, right? And when you start to lose that joy and that happiness, we go back to the burnout. See, it's all related. Saying no keeps your selfhood intact, right? It affirms I am more than just a submissive. I'm an entire whole fucking person who is sharing this DS dynamic with you, right? And I'm going to go back to what I said. A strong, ethical dominant wants a partner, not a puppet. God, we should, right? If you're looking for red flags in what would make a toxic dominant, this right here would show it to you.
We need to start pulling like all of these profound quotes and putting that in a list. I think that's another task for
a volunteer.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Number 6, saying no actually models emotional maturity and self-responsibility. Being mature in kink means taking ownership of your own voice and your own experience. And by saying no, you're showing you can advocate for yourself, that you value honest communication over people pleasing. And this is important. Look, I get it. I used to be a much bigger people pleaser, but now my fuck field is fallow. I have run out of fucks. And while there's still a side of me, it's not that I people please as much as I don't have the energy to argue with you anymore. And I don't care enough anymore. So
that's the part. I don't care anymore.
Right?
And I think, honestly, here's the hard part. That usually comes when you're older and you've run out of your fucks.
And you're tired.
Yes. So, like, at this point, I have no fucks left. I mean, I had a few at the beginning of the year, but now I'm, and it's 100%, I can tell you 100% because of the ongoing chronic illness and pain that I am in. But I am so fucking done with everything. And quite a bit of that is because I'm over 40 now. I don't have to give a fuck.
Listen,
but for younger people in their 20s, they have a lot of fucks. And they're not ready yet. And this is what we're trying to show and we're trying to teach. This is the whole wisdom comes with age thing. It's the ability to say fuck you and get out. I'm done.
I am the firm belief, similar to you are born with all the eggs you were ever going to have in your life. And as you use the eggs over the years, you eventually run out of eggs. I believe you were born with all the fucks you were ever going to give in your life. And as you use those fucks, you eventually run out of fucks.
Does that apply to sperm people too?
I don't think
regenerate.
Yeah. I don't think it, well, I think it applies to them too. I'm just using the eggs as an example. I think sperm, those who produce sperm also run out of, have a limited amount of fucks that they're born with and over the years use it up. I don't think the fucks regenerate.
Sperm people run out of eggs. What?
I'm tired. It's what happens when you record in the morning. You haven't had time for the brain juices to flow.
I've had 2 cups of coffee. This
Seriously?
is me on 2 cups of coffee. Yes. I made half a pot, but I haven't drunk all of it yet.
How big are your coffee cups?
Okay, so I think I've had about 12 ounces of coffee so far right now.
Okay, so in fairness, you consider that 2 cups. That's my 1 cup. I have big cups, and I cannot lie.
Yes, we all know the size of your boobs, but we're talking about coffee.
No, this is my iced coffee cup, and I literally measure it out so I don't pour too much. But this was 12 ounces. Then with the protein drink, because it's a protein coffee. Mm-hmm. But yes, so my 1 cup is 12 ounces. Sometimes if I'm not paying attention like I should, I could have upwards of 14, 15 ounces, but never more than that. But that I consider that my 1 cup of coffee.
Okay. I don't.
There you go.
Which is why I have up to 3 sometimes during a day. Over the
I feel
course
a little
of a day.
better now that I know it's just your cups are little. It's so cute.
Yeah, my cups are little.
Your coffee cups.
Like,
get your minds out of the gutter.
I'm tired.
All right, I'll just continue here so we can hurry up and be done and you can maybe take a nap. All right. Saying
yes.
Okay, I'm helping you here. Saying no shows that you can advocate for. Oh, I already said that. See, it got me all confused. Saying no shows that you know your limits and that you trust your dominant enough to share them. Because, right? Everybody should be trusting each other, or else why are you in a relationship? And that includes, never forget, a DS dynamic is a type of relationship, but ultimately it is a relationship. Even if it's a platonic relationship, it is first and foremost a relationship, which means you should be treating each other kindly. I just did a post the other day about just because it's a BDSM thing doesn't mean it's okay. That if you wouldn't do it in a vanilla relationship, why would you do it in a BDSM relationship? But anyway,
here.
Right. By saying no, you're also allowing for your dynamic to continuously be repaired, right? Like you could say, I can't do this right now, but let's talk about another way we can connect. Or let's talk about when we can do this. Now is not a good time, but when would be a good time, right? Think about it. Let's say you're in a dynamic and you're a parent. Well, your dom wants you to do something, but your kid needs you. What do you do at that point? Do you tell your dominant sure and you tell your kid no? I don't think so. I mean, granted,
Probably
maybe it
not
depends
the
on what
greatest of ideas.
maybe it depends on what your kid needs. Like when my child calls me up and says, I'm bored, entertain me. Like that, I think is perfectly fine to tell your child, no. Especially when your child is 20 and could fucking entertain herself.
Yeah, that happens during recording, by the way, guys. Like all the time.
And then we always have to stop the recording and I have to answer because as a parent, it's like, oh my God, my child's calling me. What's wrong? What's wrong is she's
it's an
bored.
Emergency.
Right? What's wrong is she's bored. Now, I will tell you, if my sons called me, that would be an emergency. Neither one of them would ever actually pick up the phone unless it was an emergency. But my daughter, to her, being bored is an emergency.
Exactly.
But emotional responsibility is just as important as physical safety. And saying no really helps with that. All right. 7. Here we go, Dar. You're going to love this one. Ready? Saying no protects you from coercion and abuse.
Yep.
Right?
I agree.
First of all, coercion doesn't always look violent. It can be really subtle. If you've ever done research on abuse in relationships, or you've unfortunately been involved at the receiving end of abuse in relationships, you know it never starts off with a bang. It's really subtle. And it starts off with the guilt and then the pressure and then silence when you try to talk to them and say, no, don't do this. Dar and I have both unfortunately been involved in abusive relationships. Trust me, we didn't notice this on day one. It just kept building. There's a pattern. So if you can say no to your dominant, it's going to help you recognize red flags early. Because the first time you say no and how they respond tells you everything you need to know. It will help you show, is your dominant responding to your boundaries? Is your dominant listening to you? Does your dominant care about your wants and needs? And if you can create this pattern of speaking up before things get to the point where all of a sudden one day you realize, shit, look at the position I'm now in. I can't say no. If you can start from the beginning, and I'm not saying, right, some people might say, well, test your dominant. Say no when you really don't mean it, just to see their response. I'm not saying you should or shouldn't. I think that's an individual thing. But just remember the story of the little boy who cried wolf. So something to keep in mind. But if your no is not accepted, that's not dominance, that's a problem. And healthy, ethical, a healthy dynamic, an ethical dominant will welcome your no as a sign that you're engaged and grounded and care about the dynamic, care about them, care about yourself. All of that is important. All right, so the last one. Saying no creates space for deeper intimacy. All right? Being intimate isn't just about the physical aspect. Being intimate is about being vulnerable and having trust in your dynamic and showing your weaker sides. And by weaker sides, I don't mean, I don't know, maybe that doesn't sound right because it's nobody wants to ever be seen as weak, but it shows that, right? Like I will tell you, if I am letting you know something really private and personal, then that's my way of being intimate. I have really struggled with allowing my vulnerable side to show to anybody. For the longest time, I could count on one hand the number of people who ever saw me without makeup on, outside of my family, right? And I've really learned to get past that and allow myself to not have to need the armor of my makeup. Sharing the fact that when I am in pain, that's not usually something, I'm the person who drives themselves to the fucking emergency room when they've got a kidney stone. Because to me, allowing somebody to help me makes me feel very vulnerable, and it's not a space that I'm comfortable with for the most part. I'm learning to do that with my close friends now, because that is a beautiful thing, to be vulnerable with the people you care about. And in a DS dynamic with your dom, you want that level of vulnerability, because it shows I trust you to see that side of me that maybe other people don't get to see. I trust you that when I show you that side of me, you're going to embrace it. You're not going to make fun of it. You're not going to go, "Oh, what's that?" And so when you are saying no, and you're saying no because of, let's say, I don't feel good, or that makes what you want me to do makes me feel a certain way that's uncomfortable, you are being vulnerable with them. And you are having an honest conversation about your needs and your fears. And all of that is going to build trust. The more transparent you are with your dominant and showing them that vulnerable side of you, you are building trust with them. And now that's opening the door to being more flexible and creative in your dynamic. Just because you've said no doesn't mean that something can't happen, right? Like with the physical issues, with Dara having a bad physical day, saying no to the dominant doesn't mean I can't do what you want. It means I've got this issue right here that's going to prevent me. And maybe at that point, the dominant says, okay, well, maybe we can do it a different way.
It means you can't do it this way, or you cannot do it right now. Something has to change,
right?
But it's not that you can't do it ever.
And now the dominant can be more creative in how to work around it. And if the dominant says to you, okay, let's change things up, or maybe hold off on doing that. I know if I were the submissive, that would say to me, wow, my dominant cares about me as a person. I'm not just their submissive. I am a human being and they care about me. Sometimes saying no is going to lead to something better. Think about, let's say, just for an argument, you've got a scene where the dominant wants you standing on the St. Andrew's cross, and you are having a not great health day. So you tell your dominant no. And now they've moved the scene to the spanking bench because of that. And maybe that ends up becoming one of the best scenes you've ever had with your partner, because for the first time, you don't have to think about making sure you don't fall over. You don't have to think about standing. I always tell people that I wonder if one of the reasons I have difficulty going into subspace in scenes is because 99% of my scenes are me standing, which means I have to pay attention and not lose myself in anything, because I've got to make sure I don't fall over. I got to make sure I'm still standing. Where if you move over to now a spanking bench, you don't have to think about that. I don't have to worry about holding up my weight. I'm on the spanking bench. And so maybe now you've had the best scene you've ever had because of it. Maybe you're able to try something different that the dominant doesn't feel safe trying, because you've got, they're worried that if they do this, you might fall over if you're standing. But now, because you're on the spanking bench where there's no chance of you falling, your legs giving out, you falling over, they can try something different. And all of this can lead to a much deeper, richer connection between you and your partner. And I don't see that that's a bad thing. And saying no is not necessarily rejection. It's redirection. So I kind of want to here's some sample phrases that you can use for saying no respectfully, because I can imagine that there's some people who are like, well, I want to be respectful to my dominant, and I don't feel like saying no is respectful. So here's some respectful ways to say no without maybe even using the word no. You could say, that doesn't feel right for me right now. And that's letting your partner know that there's an issue right now, and that maybe if they change it up or they hold off on doing that till later when you feel better. You could say, like, I want to serve you, but I need some rest to be at my absolute best. And that's something that would be really good for somebody who does have chronic illness. You could say, can we talk about this? I'm not ready to say yes yet. So you're not closing the door. You're just saying, let's pause for a second. And I want to talk about it with you. And here's a good one, right? And hopefully they would already know this, but just in case, that's a hard limit for me. But here's what I am open to, and give them other ideas. Now, again, all of this, hopefully your dominant will receive all of this well. And if they don't, that's your sign this is not a healthy dynamic. For those who feel that maybe you're uncomfortable saying stuff like this to your dominant, I would say practice those out loud, right? Look at yourself in the mirror or do it out loud someplace where you're not in this high pressure situation. You're not at the moment. And sometimes practicing and rehearsing it can make it easier for you to say in the moment. Maybe you'll feel more comfortable texting your dominant. So I know sometimes people saying it directly to their face is difficult. Looking them in the eye and seeing what you consider hurt and disappointment in their face can seem difficult. So don't make eye contact when you say it. Look at their feet, look at their belly buttons, look at your hands, look elsewhere so that you are not looking in their face. Another thing is, if you think you see disappointment in their face, ask them about it. Because here's the reality, right? You can be disappointed in the moment, but not be disappointed in the person. I have had scenes canceled because my partner wasn't feeling up to it, wasn't in the right headspace. Was I disappointed? Of course I was disappointed. I was looking forward to it. But I'm not disappointed in them. I'm not upset with them. I appreciate, right? Like, I've had a couple scenes canceled in the past with Simple Beauty because she wasn't in the right headspace. Not only was I okay with that because she and I did not do easy scenes. Our scenes were always extremely edgy, which meant she really needed to be in the right headspace and concentrate in order to keep the scene as safe as possible. And if she is distracted, if she is not feeling it, that increases my risk of getting hurt. So I'm actually really, really happy that she didn't try to power through it, that she ended the scene. But of course, I was really, 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 really looking forward to that scene. So yes, I am abso-fucking-lutely disappointed, but I'm not disappointed in her. And I think that's very valid for a dominant to feel that way. I think that is very valid for a dominant to say, wow, I'm really bummed. I was looking forward to it. But I understand, and I don't want you to do something you're not ready to do. And I don't want you to do something you're not in the right headspace to do. So if you are looking at them when you've said no, and you feel like, oh my God, they're totally disappointed in me, ask, talk to them, and say, it looks like you are upset about this. It looks like you are disappointed. Give them a chance to tell you, I'm not disappointed in you. I'm disappointed that we can't do the scene because I was looking forward to it. I was excited about it, but we'll reschedule it and I'll just get excited again at a different time. And all of that is fine and all of that is valid and it's healthy. So ultimately, I want you to feel comfortable in saying no and consider saying no to your partner as being a service to them. You are in service to them. You are saying no to serve them and your dynamic. It doesn't make you any less of a submissive. Doesn't make you a bad submissive. It makes you an active, engaged, thoughtful, considerate submissive who wants to put your dynamic first. And that really does put it first, right? Real service comes from choice and communication, not just automatic blind obedience. We always encourage boundaries, no matter whether you're the dom, the sub, you're just the top or the bottom. Boundaries are what's going to keep your submission rooted in consent and care and connection. And the right dominant is not going to see your no as defiance. They're going to see it as a sign of trust. What is it? I know if you're a submissive who's afraid to tell your dominant no, that to me screams red flag. If you are worried about your dominant's reaction to you telling them no, you do not have a healthy, ethical, safe dynamic.
And I'm going to point out one thing here. It's not simply you're afraid of physical retaliation from the dominant. You could be afraid of the emotional retaliation. If they get upset with you for saying it and they stop talking to you, if they pull something like they start crying or whatever because they're so upset that you told them no, that is a form of emotional manipulation.
Oh, the one I hear a lot is, I'm afraid if I say no, they will leave me.
Yeah, or I'm afraid if I say no, they'll be so upset with me. We're not just talking about a physical response here. So I just wanted to point that out.
No, that's excellent. So I want you guys to remember that sometimes the most powerful word tool in your submissive vocabulary might just be the word no. And I don't want anybody to ever be afraid to use that. And look, as I said, I don't like the word obey. I don't like the concept of obedience, but it's okay if you do. It's okay if that's what you want to have in your dynamic. And it's absolutely okay if that's something you strive toward. But what you should be aware of is it should never be blind obedience. That's when you get into trouble. That's where it becomes risky and you potentially could be really hurt physically, mentally, and emotionally. And that's not something I would ever want for anybody. Thanks for hanging out with us today. If you enjoyed what you heard, make sure to subscribe so you don't miss a minute of our fun and educational content. New episodes drop every Friday.
If you love what we do and want to help us keep creating, support us on Patreon at patreon.com/pinkkinkpodcast. You can also support our affiliates to benefit small businesses and us at the same time.
No extra cash? No problem. You can still help by spreading the word about your favorite kinky podcast. Share us with your friends, and don't forget to rate and review us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you listen. Those 5-star reviews mean the world to us, and those 5-star reviews go a long way in boosting our podcast through the algorithm and reaching more listeners.
Sign up for our Pink Kink Institute classes. Shop at our Etsy shop, Pink Kink Boutique. Stay connected with us on social media. You'll find all the links on our link tree posted in the show notes.
Your support means the world to us. So until next time, stay pink
and level up your kink knowledge.